This is the end. Hold your breath and count to 10. West Ham are going down to the Championship, and all we need is one more point. One more point. One more point, ladies and gents, against either Everton or against Chelsea, because our goal difference is significantly better than West Ham's. Newcastle have just done us a massive favour. Asulo with a man of the match display. Nick Pope made 2 or 3 really good saves. Ultimately, the only West Ham player that can come off of the pitch with his head held high is Somerville. Jarrod Bowen, I thought, was quite poor today. I thought Tati scored a really good goal, should have started the game. Nuno had panic stations in the first 20 minutes and changed formation and took Todibo off. But ladies and gents, before we get into the match reaction, I want to say a massive thank you to Oxford Natural for sponsoring this video. Make sure you check them out. Check them out via the link in the description. Today's video is brought to you by Oxford Natural, Optimum Day and Night. Now, I'm not here to sit there and tell you that I've been on this for months, and this definitely isn't some magic fix. But the results simply speak for themselves. What I will tell you is, a lot of people are using this and the results are pretty hard to ignore. Optimum Day helps with energy, cravings, and keeping on track day to day. While Optimum Night is more about recovery, sleep, and letting your body reset. It's simple, nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary, but people are getting results. When you start hearing names like Michael Owen, England legend, Ballon d'Or winner, £35 down, immediately you want to know. Or you hear Robbie from AFTV or DR Sports, £80 down. That's a lot of weight. Or you hear Anita, immigration lawyer, £40 down. Or Linda, a business executive, nearly £50 down. And I've been hearing about this more and more, especially from people that are trying to keep themselves on track. So if you're sitting there thinking, I need to sort this out, maybe this is worth a look, this could be for you. Scan the QR code, click the link in the description, use code HTT70 where you could get up to 70% off. No big promises from me, I'm just putting this in front of you. Thank you very much for Oxford Natural for sponsoring this video. 1 point. 1 point. Is all we need. 1 point. Premier League table. Move it up there. Looks like this. 1 point. Our goal difference is 12 better than theirs. 13 better than theirs. 13 better than theirs. 10 would be 19. Yeah, 13. Get a draw against Chelsea. Stay up with 1 game to go. West Ham will feel hard done by today. They had a lot of shots, but pretty much all of them, other than a worldie from Tati, were at Pope. Newcastle are actually, I think they can they get Europe? Unless Sunderland, Chelsea and Brentford all lose to Chelsea, and then if we beat Chelsea, Chelsea then loses Sunderland, which could happen, and Liverpool beat Brentford, which could happen, and Newcastle beat Fulham. They could get Conference League still. But I can't explain to you the relief. The relief of that was a very intense, nervous watch-along. And to be fair, Newcastle started really strong. They scored a couple of early goals in the opening 20 minutes. Nuno, I don't know why Tati, for me, didn't start. He looked good. He scored a cracking goal. And I think that, I'm just going to bring the lineup up on screen now. I think that he got that game plan completely wrong. You know, going with a 5 at the back in this game, again, I've said it for a long, long time. He is a very poor manager. He really is. Let me move that up there. There you go. He's a very poor manager. You know, this team, a number of... he brought on, you know, he brought on Tati in, the 26th minute. You know, Willock come on. I don't know why he was arguing with Bruno G towards the end. Isudo was very good. got a brace, man of the match performance. Obviously, Sinali went off injured, but they started the game really well. It's their last home game. It was Kieran Trippier's last game at Newcastle United at St James's. And they can come away off that with a lot of pride, a good performance. And Newcastle have been poor this season, considering it's the team that's finished in the Champions League. 2 of the last 4 years. They've been in, 2 or 3 cup finals recently, or 2 cup finals where they lost against Man United and they beat Liverpool. They made some big signings in the summer. Brought in Voltemada, who hasn't really performed massively. He's got 8 goals this season. Visa, who come in for £40 million from Brentford. Ilanga, 50 million, who hasn't yet registered a Premier League goal for Newcastle. He's only got an assist. And, when you look at the match stats, I'll bring up the match stats now. There can't be any West Ham fan coming away from that game. 8 shots on target, but it's pretty much every single shot was at Pope. Other than one where Tatty hit the post in the second half, or the post of the crossbar from a volley. And the other one was the goal from Tatty outside the box. So 6 of their 8 shots were pretty much straight at Pope. Newcastle come away with higher XG, same amount of shots, less shots on target, 9 more touches in the opposition's box. They had 3 big chances and they scored them all. That ultimately is the difference. Newcastle were clinical and West Ham weren't. If you look at the, I'll be able to pick up the momentum on here somewhere. Look, the momentum was pretty much all Newcastle in the first half, other than one little 5-minute spell. Second half was a bit more even, but by then it was 3-0 when Tatty then went on to score. So fair play to Newcastle. They deserve the win. They've got Fulham next at Craven Cottage, which will be Fulham's, which will be the last game of the season. And it all comes down to, can we go out there and get a point against Chelsea and against Everton? That is all we need, ladies and gents. 1 point to stay in the Premier League. And we have got Chelsea. I'll bring up our fixtures now. We've got Chelsea. Just move that there. We've got Chelsea and Everton. We've already got a few pre-season games booked in. Senesi will be joining Spurs if we stay up. Same as Andy Robertson. I think Senesi would be a good signing. But get a point on Tuesday and we stay in the Premier League. I would happily let Everton beat us 1 or 2-0 if it means they've got a good chance of getting Europe. I don't have any bad blood against Everton, as long as we draw to Chelsea. As long as we stay up, that final game doesn't matter. If we go and beat Chelsea, fantastic. I don't think we will. I think we'll get play for a draw. And I think, bearing in mind Chelsea at the moment are poor, but ultimately they love playing us. They've got a very good record at home against us. We've won there once in 27 years, which was in 2018. Psychologically and mentally, there's some sort of block whenever we play Chelsea. But this is the best opportunity we are going to have in a long, long time to beat them. We're not in horrendous form. We're 5 games without a defeat. We beat Wolves away. We beat Villa away. And we have got, I think, if I bring up the Premier League table and I look at our away form, we've got the 5th best away form in the Premier League. Out of the 18 games, we've only lost 6, which is 33% we've only lost. So hopefully now we can go and kick on, go and beat Chelsea, or go and get a draw against Chelsea, get into the summer, try and rebuild some of this squad, bring in a couple of decent players. It looks like even Romero or Van de Ven's going to go if Senesi's coming in. But for me, that is absolutely huge. That is huge. It really is. I can't describe to you how big that is. Honestly, everything about that. The fact that West Ham's goal difference is now 2 worse than it was at the start. The fact that they lost. The fact that, Kieran Tripp's ex-Spurs won on his last home game for Newcastle, which I'm happy about. Now it's all in our hands. If we bottle it from here, I will listen. If we bottle it from here, we can never ever live this down, considering we need 1 point from 2 games. The stress of this season. Stress has just been ridiculous. Make sure you go down and drop a like on the video if you haven't already. Make sure you let me know your thoughts. Lots of football coming up throughout the week. Man City, Bournemouth. We play Chelsea. And of course, Burnley travel to Arsenal. Be a lot of content over both channels. I'll see you in the next one. I am